Canada striker Jonathan David is set to make a move to Juventus. Sources confirming to ESPN the 25-year-old is leaving French club Lille on a free transfer. Of course, if you watch this show for the last couple of years, you know there's no bigger Jonathan David stan on this panel than one Herculez Gomez. Herc, Juventus has some pretty big-name strikers right now on their depth chart. How confident are you that Juve is the right fit and Jonathan David's going to go in there and be a starter?
Well, I'm confident he'll go in and be a starter. I'm not confident he'll go in and it'll be the right fit. I don't think Juventus has shown that to be a productive area for any player over the years. So I'm nervous for Jonathan David. I'm happy for Jonathan David that he's going to get his payday. It seems like $6 million a year plus some incentives. He's well deserved of that raise. But you look at Vlahovic, it's not like he's been on a tear over the years, and it's not just his doing. A lack of service. You're always playing from behind. It's not the Juve of old. They go through coaches like I go through underwear. It's not been an easy moment for any player there. And just look at Weston McKennie or Timothy Weah, this side of the pond of players we pay attention. So I'm a little worried for what Juventus is, but I am not worried about who Jonathan David is. If Jonathan David has shown me anything, is he adapts. He's got resolve. He's got the type of mentality to overcome. He did it when he was in Belgium. He did it when he was in Lille, in a team that sometimes wasn't as good, and he became the all-time leading goal scorer there. He just proved it against Champions League opposition, the best of the Champions League opposition this last season, whether it was Real Madrid, Atletico, whether it was Juve, whatever the case may be, he was proving to be a goal scorer. So I'm not worried about him individually. I'm more worried about Juventus. But was there another team or other teams that I thought would have been a greater fit or a better platform for him? Absolutely.
Where? Herc?
I thought it was Barcelona would have been a great place because you've got an aging Robert Lewandowski. It was a free transfer. He's a massive Barcelona fan. He's a player that can play anywhere on the field as a 9.5 or the 9. He's got the ability to stretch you. He's got the ability to play into feet. He's a finisher. He's a facilitator. He buys in, and you can adapt him into multiple types of formations. I thought Barcelona would have been a dream scenario, and I don't think it would have been out of pocket for anybody if all of a sudden Jonathan David is there with Robert Lewandowski to kind of see Robert Lewandowski be edged out, to ride off into the sunset and usher in the next era with Jonathan David.
Casey, if we think about his future at Juventus, so Vlahovic is an interesting one.
Yeah.
They're trying to move him out, Juventus is apparently. They spent $80 million on him, but apparently no longer convinced he's the guy. But he's saying he wants to stay at Juventus and fight for the job. So it's 50-50 whether he'll be or they're not. They also have Randall Kolo Muani on the team who can play through the middle. And by the way, did it for France in a World Cup final. I know Jonathan David is good. Is he good enough to beat out one of or both of those guys to start for Juventus?
I think so.
Wow.
But I think at any time you just there's always something about a club giving you a huge transfer in saying, we want you. There's
You
also
mean the fee itself.
correct. Right? And there's also something about a club going, oh, I can sign you January 1st as a free? I'm signing you January 1st because you're that important to us, and I think you're in our plan. I think this was a situation for Juve where they saw a good player for free that we can give, who's looking for a decent wage because he's a free transfer, and they said, yeah, that makes sense. Now, I like a Jonathan David to be able to say, yeah, I'll bet on myself. I think I can go to Serie A and continue to score the percentage of goals that I did in Belgium, that I did in France, for, let's be honest, a better team than Lille, right? So, yeah, I like this move. I think Herc was a little optimistic that Jonathan David goes to a Barcelona.
There were some links.
Well, there's some more links because of Barcelona's financial troubles than Jonathan David being a Barcelona player.
It's a free transfer.
Yeah.
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 No, so I understand that, Herc. It makes sense because clearly they've had some financial issues and they could get.
And Lewandowski's not getting any younger, and eventually going to need to replace
I mean, they could have at least picked up a